Yo, what's going on everyone? I hope you're having an amazing day, and if you're new, welcome. My name is Dontae Catlett, and on this YouTube channel, I love to document my journey as an entrepreneur, filmmaker, photographer, and beatboxer. Consider hitting that subscribe button and turn on your post notifications so you never miss out on a video that I drop, because trust me, I'm dropping gems. And speaking of gems, I'm going to be talking about 10 tools every beginner photographer needs. Odds are if you clicked on this video, you are in need of some serious help. And if you did it just because out of pure love and you want to support me, then I respect that. You guys can support me some more by smashing that like button so that other people who are in need can see this video. That's how the YouTube algorithm works. I do have a question for you. Let me know in the comments, what are your favorite tools as a creative? Whether you're a photographer or a filmmaker, I just want to know, because maybe I need to upgrade my gear. And before we get started, in the description box, I'm going to link down all of the products that I'm listing that you need as a beginner photographer. No, I'm not getting paid or I'm not sponsored by any of these guys. I just make a small commission off of this so that I can keep creating these videos. Now let's go ahead and talk about what tools you're going to need as a beginner photographer, starting with number one, which of course is a camera. Depending on what kind of photographer you are, if you're just starting out and you have a mobile phone and you're extremely inspired to take pictures every single day and you're motivated and you want to work up to getting that expensive camera, that's fine. That's all you need. Learn how to use that tool. Me, I've been shooting for, let's say like 10 years, right? Over 10 years. If someone were to give me a phone and say, here's the camera that you're going to be using for the job, I'm going to make sure I know exactly every single feature this camera can provide, and I'm going to figure out how I can get the job done with that camera. If you gave a beginner, let's say a $10,000 camera, the image might come out nice. They're going to put it on auto mode, but the skill set it takes to manage one of these cameras and get an image exactly how you want it to look like, there's a lot that goes behind your lens selection. So let's say you're a beginner and you have an SLR camera. An SLR camera is basically a single lens reflex camera, so that means you can detach the lenses from the cameras and put different lenses on. I would highly recommend you to get a fast lens. The aperture number should be 1.2 to 1.8. If there is a lens that I would recommend if you're shooting with Canon, it is the nifty 50. It shoots at a 1.8 aperture, giving you that beautiful shallow depth of field. I kind of just gave you two tools in one right there. First, you need a camera and you need a fast lens. That's what I would recommend. Some people say,
oh, well, I want the lens that goes from 24 to 280, but the aperture is 5.6.
Those are the lenses I would stay away from. Just because you have that large focal length, it might not be very practical, especially when you're shooting in low light conditions. The aperture at 5.6 is not going to allow you to let in as much light as a 1.4. Now, since we're on the subject of lighting, the second tool that I would say every photographer needs is what I'm using right now on my camera, which is an ND filter. Think about it, it's like sunglasses for your camera. If the shot is too overexposed but you need your shutter speed to be a little bit lower, then you would throw on the ND filter, and this helps cut out all of the highlights that are basically clipping. Personally, I like using variable ND filters because you can control the amount of exposure or stops that you want to go down on that. They can be kind of pricey, over $100, or you can go a little bit cheaper, but like I said, it really just depends what type of photographer you are and what kind of tool you need to get the job done. If you're shooting professional, then I would highly suggest you invest into the more expensive one. The ND filter that I've actually had for years, so these pieces of glasses will last you a very long time, so long as you take care of them. The third tool that I would recommend every photographer to have is a SPEEDLITE. A SPEEDLITE is a flash system that goes on top of your camera, or you can get a wireless receiver so that you can stick that SPEEDLITE onto a tripod or light stand. A SPEEDLITE is perfect if you're an event photographer, if you're shooting portraits, if you're shooting product shots. You can be extremely versatile and control the lighting that comes out of it. If I'm a photographer at an event and I just have my camera and it's extremely low lights, where I've shot in halls before for weddings or for like other big parties, then everyone's face is going to be extremely dark. Think about the flash on your camera, but you can add modifiers to it like diffusers to make sure that the light's a little bit more softer. And this is something that I would definitely keep in my camera bag. The fourth tool that I would recommend every photographer to have is a reflector. I can't tell you how many times a reflector has saved my life. I have two different sizes, one that's round and then one that's kind of like an oval shape, but it's a lot bigger. The reflectors that I would recommend are the ones that are like the 3 or 4-in-1s. And basically what you get is a gold side, which is a warmer look if you're going for something like in the desert or on the beach. And then the other one is going to be a silver reflector, a white, and then on the inside is a diffusion screen that you can hold up above light or above the sun to give a more diffused look. They do make these reflectors with green screens and blue screens on them as well if you're doing some type of like VFX project. If you don't have the budget to buy one, then I would just go to Home Depot or to Michael's, get a piece of foam core, and that works just as great. You just don't get the other features and the versatility of being able to fold one and put it away in your camera bag. That brings me on to number 5, a camera bag. Every photographer should have a camera bag to keep all of these accessories in and to keep your precious camera gear safe. Next up, you're going to need a tripod. If you're stargazing and you want to get night skies or you want to capture motion in a different way, a tripod is a really great way to do this, and it is extremely versatile because maybe you want to take a self-portrait. You can get a wireless trigger pointed at your camera and I could take a picture of myself right now, but I wouldn't be able to do that if I didn't have a tripod. Sure, you could sit it above some books or on a chair, but you won't be able to position the camera exactly how you want to. Another great use of a tripod is if you're shooting product shots or if you're getting headshots for, let's say, a modeling agency and you don't want the background to change. You're gonna need a tripod. Invest into a good tripod. I'll make sure to link down a couple of different ones below. For a beginner, I wouldn't get too crazy into tripods, especially if you don't know if this is something that you're gonna do professionally or as a hobbyist. I've gone through 3 different tripods and I love the one that I have right now. It's a Manfrotto. I use it for photography and videos. It has a top-down feature where I can like point the tripod down. It just really depends on the size of the camera that you're using too. Now, if you're getting down and dirty when you're shooting, the last thing that you want to do is clean your lens with your shirt. If you're going into a shoot and then you go back into edit in the editing room and you see that there's pieces of dust and fingerprint smudges all over your camera, the next tool that I would recommend that every beginner photographer should have is a cleaning kit, at least a cleaning cloth. And I really love those puffers. I have like one that's shaped like a rocket ship and it just basically blows all the dust off. This is for all the people who are shooting on any type of camera that isn't mobile. You're gonna need a fast and large memory card. The ones I like to use are SanDisk memory cards. I've got a bunch dedicated either for my audio equipment, for my photography, or for my videos. Some people use CF cards. It really just depends on the type of camera that you're using, but I highly recommend getting a fast SD card so that way you're able to capture a bunch of images. Pro tip, if your camera has dual slots, meaning it has 2 slots to insert SD cards, I would highly recommend you to use both of those slots. Could you imagine if one of your cards came up corrupt and you had the ability to put in 2 cards? Having a backup of a backup is extremely important. That brings me on to my next tool. Having a hard drive and being able to store it just gives an extra form of security to keep your files on. And if you're working with another photographer or you have a client, then you can just take them off of your hard drive, put them onto a flash drive and hand them off to them that way. Something that I love to do is making a backup of a backup of a backup of my hard drives, because a couple years ago, I dropped one of my hard drives and it has clips from the Philippines when I was trying to work on a voiceover project and I have to pay $1,200, they were saying. If you guys have some type of data recovery place that you would recommend, please leave them in the comments, because I'm definitely not trying to spend $1,200, but I also need those clips in there. I'll add on another tool that you will need. If your computer doesn't already have some type of SD card slot, or if you're using CF cards, then you're gonna need a fast card reader. Don't cheap out, because you will lose your mind waiting for your files to upload. The better the quality of the card reader you have, the faster that whole process is gonna go and more reliable it's gonna be, because you don't want your files to get corrupt. Number 10 is gonna be your editing software. There's a plethora of editing softwares you can use out there. If you're just a beginner, then I would recommend using something free like Visco. I believe Adobe Lightroom Mobile might be free still. If not, if you want to edit on computers, that's what I edit on, is Adobe Lightroom. I have the Master Suite collection. I'm a part of Adobe's cloud service, and what that means is I get access to every single application that they have, from Premiere, Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, so many more apps that they have available. I pay monthly for this service. The benefits of this is that I get a free update on any app anytime they have an update. I can work through the cloud and send the project off to somebody else for them to work on the project. I can download a bunch of stock photos and images from there, and they also have their own font library. That's why I choose to have this service. If you just want Lightroom to edit your photos, then you can do that. There's also Capture and, like I said, other applications out there. Now, for the bonus tip that I said for you guys, the last one I'm gonna leave you with is knowledge. You cannot be a beginner photographer and not expect to learn stuff. If you pick up the camera and you take a picture and it didn't come out how you wanted it to, you can't just give up. You need to understand how your camera works inside and out. Even if it's just your iPhone, I guarantee you there's features on there that you didn't know was possible. Or even if you go deep down into the settings, there's things that you can change to enhance those. So if you guys want more videos about photography, please smash the like button, comment down below. That way I know you enjoyed this video and I can make more for you guys. Let me know what kind of photography or filmmaking videos you want to see next. Again, guys, my name is Dontae Catlett. If you got to the end of the video, much respect. I appreciate you guys as always. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, I'm out.
Yeah. I let my tape rock till my tape pop. Smoking weed and bamboo, sipping on private stock. Way back when I had the red and black lumberjack with the hat to match. Remember rapping Duke? The hard. You never thought that hip hop would take it this far. Now I'm in the limelight cause I rhyme tight. Time to get paid, blow up like